Hello, this video is for the FVA All-State Committee Chairs who will be setting up the musicianship exam for the All-State auditions. To begin, log into MPA Online and go to All-State Administration and then click Exams. At first, just click the New Exam button, but you'll see here that as you add your exams, they'll be listed on this page. Since I've already added the high school exam, we'll click on New Exam to add the middle school exam. Now we'll add the details for the exam. I'm going to call it the 2022 FVA Middle School Musicianship Exam. For the introductory text, you can add anything you want the student to see and read before they begin taking the exam. Student grades, since this is the middle school exam, I'm going to put 6 for the minimum and 8 for the maximum. In a future version of this page, you might see checkboxes for the actual individual ensembles listed, in which case you would check the middle school mixed chorus and middle school treble chorus. But for right now, it's just going by grade level, so put 6 and 8. The next questions are the dates that the exam opens and closes. Students will only be able to access the exam between these two dates. It should be in the format month, day, year, hour, minute, and AM or PM. If you don't include a time, it will default to midnight the morning of the date that you enter. So this is true for both the opening and closing dates. So for example, if you want it to be open from September 1st through the 15th, if you just put September 1st in the opening box, it will open at midnight that morning. But if you only put September 15th in the closing box, it will close at midnight that morning. So if people are expecting to take the exam on September 15th, make sure to add 11:59 p.m. after the date or whatever time on September 15th you want it to close. I'm using 11:59 p.m. instead of 12 o'clock because 12 o'clock p.m. is actually noon and 12 o'clock a.m. is actually midnight the morning of the date that you enter, not the evening. If you wanted to go a step further and make sure that they don't get cheated out of that last minute, you can actually add another 59 for the seconds place, so it's 11:59 p.m. The sample audio file is a recording that the student will use to make sure their sound works and it's at an appropriate volume before they begin the exam. It should be an MP3 file that's recorded at the same time as your other exam audio files, so that way the sound level and quality is all exactly the same as the audio the student will hear during the exam. We recommend it be at least 8 measures long, so about 20 or 30 seconds. Click the Choose File button and find the file on your computer. If you don't have the file recorded yet, don't worry, you can come back and add this later. But just be aware that if you forget to add it later, the student won't be able to start taking the exam until it is added. Click Save Changes, and now you can see it listed here on our exams page. Click Edit to go back into that page and edit the details that we just entered if you need to. The next step will be to add the questions for the exam. So next to the exam we just created, we're going to click the Questions button. And just like the previous page, it starts out with just a new questions button, but as you add them, all the questions will be listed here along with the buttons to edit them. So first, new question. Questions will be randomized within each section when the students take the exam. So questions you would like grouped together should all have the exact same section name entered here. The question text is the exact question that you're asking the student or instructions to the student about what answer to choose. So as a sample, I'm using this paper-based exam from 2021, which starts with the listening skills. So the section will be listening skills. And then I'll copy and paste the instructions. But here it tells the student to mark A or B, but since we can enter anything we want as the possible answer choices on the next page, instead of being limited to the A through E letters on the old bubble sheets, I'm going to reword this question. A better way of phrasing this might be, please indicate whether what you see is the same or different than what you hear, and then our answer choices that we'll set up will be same or different rather than A and B. The weight should stay at 1 for most questions, but for any questions that you want to count double, you can change that to 2, or any questions that you want to count half as much, you can change that to 0.5. Next, we'll upload the audio file for this question. 2 important things to remember about audio files now. The first is that each question must have its own MP3 file. You can't do one big file that just plays continuously like you did with the old paper and pencil exams. The second thing to remember is that even if you want the student to listen to the audio example 2 or 3 times, the MP3 file should only include it being played once. Then you'll put a number 2 in the audio plays allowed box, or 3 if you want them to be able to play it 3 times, and so forth. So whatever you put for the audio plays allowed, that's how many times the system will let the student play that audio file. Next is the image file that contains the music notation for this question. Again, I'm using the sample paper exam from 2021, but you can use any music notation software such as Finale, Sibelius, MusiScore, whatever you use. We're basically just going to take a screenshot of it and upload that. If you're on Windows, hold down the Windows and Shift key and press S as in screenshot. If you're using a Mac, hold down the Command, Control, and Shift keys and then press the number 4. Now you're going to drag a box around the notation that you want to include for this question. So click and hold your mouse pointer in the upper left corner and drag it down to the lower right corner. And then when you release your mouse button, it will copy that portion of the screen to the computer's clipboard. And all you need to do is click on the paste button on this page. The first time you do this, you may need to give your browser permission to access the clipboard, so be sure to click allow if you see this pop up. There's no need to click the choose file button for the music notation image unless you would rather save all your notation images as a separate PNG file for each question. In that case, you can just click choose file and find the PNG file on your computer for this question. But I think using the screen clip keyboard shortcut and the paste button will be much easier and faster for you. That's everything for this question, so click Save Changes, and now we have to set the possible answers that the students will be able to choose from. In this case, we are asking the students to tell us if what they hear is the same or different than what they see, so the only options will be same and different. So I'm going to put same in the answer text option and click Save. Then I'm going to enter different, and then because this is the correct answer, I'm going to check this box that says check if this is the correct answer and click Save. Each question can only have one correct answer, so be careful not to click this checkbox for more than one of the answer options. And it'll also give you an error if you forget to check the checkbox for any of them. There must be exactly one answer option with the correct answer checkbox checked. After adding all the possible answers, we are finished with this question, so I'm going to click the Finished button, and you will see our question listed here on the questions page. Click the Preview link to preview exactly what it will look like for the student. Click the Play Audio button to test out how many times it will let that student listen. So as you can see, after it plays, it lets them play it again, but it warns them that only one more play is allowed. And then again, after playing it, it just says no more plays are allowed and it won't let them click it at all. Close this tab, and now we're able to add our next new question. Notice that now we have a duplicate previous question link here. This will copy and paste the section and the question text from the last question that we added, but nothing else. You'll still need to upload a different audio file and paste in a different screen clip or save your changes and then add all the new answer options as before. So this just does the section and question text from the previous question. For questions where we need the students to choose between different images of music notation instead of typing something in the answer text option box, we can do screen clipping shortcuts for the options instead of text. So for example, I'm going to jump over to the high school exam where some of the questions ask the student to identify the time signature. I'll put time meter signature recognition for the section, identify the correct time signature for the instructions, clip and paste the questions notation, save, and now instead of typing in an answer option here, I'm going to screen clip and paste the image for each possible answer. Preview, you can see what it looks like for the student. Also, the complete measure options would use that same technique and they'll look like this. Okay, back to the middle school exam. There is a type of question in the paper test that cannot be translated to this online platform without some significant modifications, and that is the type of question that uses one audio clip, but each measure is a separate question. For example, the rhythm and pitch section has one continuous audio clip, and the student is asked to indicate for each measure whether what they see and hear is a match. and each measure is a different question, potentially earning the student a separate point if it's correct. Instead, we'll need to make this one question that asks the student which measures contain the mistakes. And then we can change the weight to 4 so that the student still gets all 4 possible points for the correct answer. So I'm going to upload the clip that plays the 4 measures, screen clip and paste the notation image. Note that the numbers you put above the measures in the questions like this should probably just be 1, 2, 3, and 4, since we're no longer dealing with question numbers on a bubble sheet, but asking about the actual measure numbers instead. And then for the answer options, we might do something like this. Cool. And finished. And then preview, and that's what that'll look like for the student instead. So once you're finished adding all of your questions, the exam should be ready to go. The final thing would be to just go back to the exam list and click the edit button to double check the dates that the exam will be open and closed, and make sure that you have a sample audio file uploaded so the students have something to listen to make sure that their sound is working before they start taking the exam. That's it. Feel free to email me if you have any questions.